Welcome to Reformed Thinking. This is the deep dive. Picture this. Really weary travelers finally seeing a place of rest up ahead. But it's a place that sources describe as having, well, both incredible beauty and some pretty stark warnings. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a specific part of John Bunyan's classic, The Pilgrim's Progress. We're focusing on the Delectable Mountains.
That's right.
We've got a pile of notes and excerpts here straight from Bunyan's descriptions, plus some analysis to help us unpack what's going on in this section.
Yeah, and our mission, in this deep dive is really to get under the skin of what the Delectable Mountains represent for the pilgrim. We want to look at the help they offer, the lessons taught there, and those really crucial warnings shared that are, well, essential if you're going to keep going.
Right. Helping you, the listener, see all the layers Bunyan packed into this spot.
Exactly.
So let's jump in together. We'll walk through the details Bunyan gives, what the text actually says, and figure out what it signifies for the pilgrim's experience.
Sounds good. Bunyan really sets the scene, doesn't he? Christian and hopeful arrive. He just says they went until they came to the Delectable Mountains. Simple, but it's significant.
And your notes highlight their condition when they get there. They're described as weary pilgrims. Bunyan even adds that detail, that they're leaning upon their staves, as is common with weary pilgrims when they stand to talk with any, by the way.
Yeah.
You immediately get this picture of how tough the journey has been. I mean, think what they've just come through.
Oh, absolutely. The slough of despond, hill difficulty, the valleys, humiliation and shadow of death, faithful's martyrdom.
Right. Buy-ins and escaping giant despair. Just recently, they are genuinely wiped out.
That weariness is so important. It makes the provision they find feel less like a bonus and more like, well, a necessity.
Uh-huh.
And the contrast is immediate, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Their exhaustion versus the sheer abundance of the place. The sources list the features: gardens and orchards, the vineyards and fountains of water.
It sounds incredible, lush, life-giving, not just some bare mountain range.
Exactly, a place of flourishing life.
And what do they do first? Bunyan says they drank and washed themselves and did freely eat of the vineyards.
Straight away, they use the resources. Drinking, washing off the road dust, eating the fruit, immediate physical relief.
But it's Bunyan, so it's more than just physical, right?
Oh, definitely. This physical refreshment is loaded with allegory. The sources point this out clearly. It's about spiritual sustenance and renewal. Drinking from the fountains, that's receiving spiritual refreshment. Washing is about cleansing. Eating from the vineyards, that signifies feeding on spiritual provisions.
So it's grace meeting them right where they are in their exhaustion?
Precisely. Tangible relief, in the story's terms, after immense hardship. A real picture of divine care.
It's a massive shift from, say, the fear of the valleys or being locked up in Darren Castle. Now it's beauty, provision.
Right. And naturally, they start asking questions. They meet these shepherds feeding their flocks, and Christian asks, whose delectable mountains are these? And whose be the sheep that feed upon them? Basic questions. Who owns this place?
And the answer the shepherds give is, well, it's significant. These mountains are Immanuel's land.
Immanuel's land. And your notes remind us, Immanuel means God with us.
That connection is huge, isn't it?
It's absolutely foundational. Bunyan isn't just saying it's a nice spot owned by someone important. He's placing it directly under Christ's ownership and authority.
Oh, right.
This is ground belonging to God, present with his people.
And it's not just the land. What about the sheep?
The shepherds continue, and the sheep also are his, and he laid down his life for them.
And the sources link this straight to John 10:11.
Yep, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. Bunyan weaves it together beautifully.
So Immanuel, God with us, the owner, and the good shepherd who died for the sheep.
It's a powerful combination. It allegorically nails down Jesus Christ as the owner of the land and of the people, the pilgrims, who are his sheep, precisely because of his sacrifice.
There's another detail, too, about location. The mountains are within sight of his city.
Yes, within sight of the celestial city. That's key. It places the Delectable Mountains not just sort of geographically near the goal, but spiritually within Christ's domain. It's like a preview, an outpost of the kingdom.
A place of refreshment with the end in view.
You got it. And even the shepherds themselves, they report to the Lord of these mountains.
So putting it all together, the sources show this place as owned by Christ, inhabited by his people, overseen by his servants, offering provision that flows directly from him.
That's the allegorical picture, yeah. Divine provision, divine perspective, all rooted in Christ.
Okay, so after that initial relief and understanding whose land it is, they properly meet the shepherds. Bunyan says they find them feeding their flocks and they stood by the highway side.
And these shepherds aren't just bystanders. They have a job to do, a charge from the Lord of the Mountains.
Which is?
The text says they're told not to be forgetful to entertain strangers. And your notes point to Hebrews 13:2.
Entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. So their hospitality is like divinely commissioned.
Exactly. It's part of their duty. They function as guides and hosts, welcoming pilgrims, caring for them.
And their names. Bunyan gives us their names, doesn't he?
He does, explicitly. Knowledge, experience, watchful, and sincere.
Those names are obviously symbolic. Knowledge. Not just book smarts, right? More like spiritual understanding.
I think so, yeah. Discernment, understanding God's truth, and experience that seems straightforward, the wisdom you get from actually walking the path, the ups and downs.
Watchful, vigilance, being alert to dangers.
Necessary vigilance against temptation, error, the enemy. And sincere, that points to authenticity, real faith, truthfulness.
So these shepherds embody the very qualities pilgrims need at this stage. They represent mature, grounded faith, providing guidance.
That's precisely it. They are what weary pilgrims need to learn from and, cultivate themselves.
So the conversation turns from ownership to the path itself. Christian starts asking practical questions.
Right. First off, is this the way to the celestial city? Simple, direct.
And the shepherds reassure them, you are just in your way. Imagine the relief after possibly doubting, especially after the Doubting Castle detour.
Oh, huge relief. Confirmation they're back on track.
But then he asks about the distance. How far is it thither?
And the answer isn't in miles, is it? It's more profound. Too far for any but those that shall get thither indeed.
What does that imply?
Well, it tells them the journey is long, it's arduous, and frankly, not everyone who starts is going to finish. It takes a certain kind of perseverance, a real determination to get thither indeed. It acknowledges the difficulty ahead.
Sort of tempers the relief with a dose of reality. The goal is still far off.
Exactly. Then Christian asks the big one. Is the way safe or dangerous?
And the answer seems tricky. Safe for those for whom it is to be safe, but the transgressors shall fall therein.
It does sound paradoxical.
Oh.
But your notes link it to Hosea 14:9. The ways of the Lord are right, and the just shall walk in them, but the transgressors shall fall therein.
Okay. So it mirrors that scripture. Safety isn't about the road itself.
No, it's about the person walking on it. That's the meaning Bunyan's conveying. The path's safety is conditional. If you're just, faithful, walking obediently with God's guidance, the path is safe, meaning you'll be kept on it, preserved through its dangers.
But if you're a transgressor, disobedient, straying,
then that very same path becomes hazardous. You'll stumble, you'll fall. The safety depends on your relationship with God and how you walk on the way.
So it's a crucial warning tucked inside the reassurance. You're on the right road, but how you walk it matters immensely.
Definitely. Then Christian circles back to their immediate needs, asking if there's any relief for weary pilgrims there.
Yes. Is there in this place any relief for pilgrims that are weary and faint in the way?
And the shepherds immediately say yes, linking back to their job. They repeat that the Lord told them not to be forgetful to entertain strangers.
And connect that command to the pilgrims directly. Therefore, the good of the place is before you.
That phrase, the good of the place, it covers everything. The fountains, the vineyards, the gardens. It's all part of God's provision offered through the shepherds for weary travelers.
Confirming that the initial drink and food was just the start.
Right. There's more good available.
Now, it's not just the pilgrims asking questions. The shepherds start asking them things too once they realize they're travelers.
Yeah, the text says when the shepherds perceived that they were wayfaring men, they also put questions to them.
And the questions are revealing. Whence came you? And how got you into the way? And by what means have you so persevered therein?
Not just small talk, is it? Where are you from? How did you start? And crucially, how have you kept going this far?
Why those specific questions?
Bunyan gives the reason directly. For but few of them that begin to come hither do show their face on these mountains.
Wow, but few. That really highlights that reaching this point is a big deal. Not everyone makes it this far.
It means they've overcome serious trials. It shows real perseverance, genuine faith. It filters out those who fall away early or get permanently sidetracked.
So when Christian and hopeful tell their story,
The shepherds are pleased therewith. They look very lovingly upon them and said, "Welcome to the Delectable Mountains."
that welcome feels earned, doesn't it? Like a recognition of their faithfulness so far.
It really does. More than just politeness, it's affirmation.
And the welcome extends beyond words. They take them by the hand and have them to their tents, into their homes, fellowship.
Yes, and immediately share food again. They made them partake of that which was ready at present. Simple, immediate provision.
But there's an offer for more too, right? They invite them to stay longer.
They do. We would that you should stay here a while to be acquainted with us, and yet more to solace yourselves with the good of these delectable mountains.
So an invitation to linger, get to know the shepherds better, maybe absorb more knowledge, experience, watchfulness, sincerity, and find deeper rest and refreshment.
Yeah, it's an offer for sustained spiritual benefit, not just a quick pit stop.
And practical rest too. They stay the night.
They went to their rest that night because it was very late.
Yeah.
Basic, necessary physical rest in a safe place. It's comprehensive care.
So after resting up the next morning, the shepherds have more planned. They call them up to walk with them upon the mountains.
And it's described as having a pleasant prospect on every side. Walking with the guides, taking in the view.
Sounds like a time for perspective, maybe seeing how far they've come, what's ahead, but from a place of safety with guidance.
I think so. A time of peaceful communion, encouragement. And it's during this walk the shepherds decide, shall we show these pilgrims some wonders?
Wonders? What kind of wonders?
Well, not exactly miracles, more like object lessons. Vivid allegorical sights designed to teach them really important truths about the dangers still lurking on the path. Cautionary tales, you could say.
Okay, so the first wonder is where?
They take them first to the top of a hill error. And Bunyan notes it was very steep on the furthest side. The name tells you what it's about.
And what do they see from there?
They're told to look down, and the sight is gruesome. Several men dashed all to pieces by a fall that they had from the top.
Oof, that's graphic. Christian asks what it means, obviously.
And the shepherds explain. They ask if the pilgrims have heard of men made to err by hearkening to Hymenaeus and Philetus as concerning the faith of the resurrection of the body.
Pulling in that reference from 2 Timothy, those who said the resurrection was already past.
Exactly, a serious doctrinal error about a core belief.
So these men at the bottom are those who fell into that kind of error.
That's what the shepherds say. Those that you see lie dashed in pieces.
Yeah.
Are they? And there's that grim detail. They have continued to this day, unburied.
Unburied. That adds another layer, like being outside the community, no hope, utter ruin.
A lasting sign of it, yeah. And the shepherds spell out the lesson. This serves for an example to others to take heed how they clamber too high or how they come too near the brink of this mountain.
So the warning is about the catastrophic result of doctrinal error, heresy, getting dashed to pieces spiritually. And maybe that clamber too high bit hints at spiritual pride, trusting your own ideas over truth.
Could well be. It shows that messing with fundamental truths isn't just an intellectual mistake. It can lead to total spiritual destruction, a really stark warning.
Okay, so that's hill error. Where do they go next?
From there, the shepherds lead them to the top of another mountain, and the name of that is Caution, another revealing name.
What do they see from Mountain Caution?
They look afar off this time, and they see several men walking up and down among the tombs.
Among tombs? And what's wrong with them?
The text says Christian and hopeful perceived that the men were blind, because they stumble sometimes upon the tombs, and because they could not get out from among them.
Blind, stumbling, trapped in a graveyard. That's a powerful image of helplessness.
It really is. Spiritual disorientation, trapped in death. Again, Christian asks, what means this?
How do the shepherds explain this one?
They connect it back to something the pilgrims saw earlier. They ask if they remember, a little below these mountains, a stile that led into a meadow on the left hand.
The stile near Doubting Castle. They remember it well.
Exactly. The shepherds confirm. From that stile, there goes a path that leads directly to Doubting Castle, which is kept by giant despair.
Making it incredibly personal for Christian hopeful given their recent escape.
Terribly personal. And the shepherds reveal that these blind men they're seeing were once pilgrims too. They came to that same stile.
Why did they take that path, the wrong path?
Bunyan gives the reason clearly through the shepherds. Because the right way was rough in that place, they chose to go out of it into that meadow.
They chose ease over perseverance when the going got tough. A shortcut.
Precisely. And that shortcut led straight to trouble. They were taken by giant despair and cast into Doubting Castle.
A place Christian and hopeful know means misery and confinement.
But it got worse for these men. The shepherds explained that after keeping them in the dungeon for a while, giant despair did put out their eyes.
Spiritual blindness, the inability to see truth or hope.
Yes, and their final state is what the pilgrims are now witnessing from Mountain Caution.
Yeah.
Giant despair led them among those tombs, where he has left them to wander to this very day.
Just wandering blindly among the dead. Wow.
And the shepherds quote that saying, likely from Proverbs 21.1c, "He that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead."
Chillingly apt. Wandering from truth leads to spiritual death.
So the lesson from Mountain Caution is multifaceted. It warns, don't leave the right path just because it's hard. Seeking ease can lead straight to doubting castle, to giant despair,
And succumbing to that despair leads to spiritual blindness.
leaving you trapped, helpless, effectively dead spiritually, wandering among the tombs. A terrifying picture of the consequences of giving up hope when faced with hardship.
How do Christian and hopeful react to seeing this?
The text says, they looked upon one another with tears gushing out, but yet said nothing to the shepherds.
Tears, but silence. It hits them hard. They understand the danger because they were so close to it themselves.
Exactly. The sight of those lost pilgrims drives home the seriousness of straying, especially when the path gets rough.
So looking back at the whole Delectable Mountains experience, it really has this dual nature, doesn't it? Incredible blessing and provision, but also these very sobering warnings.
Absolutely. It's a place of grace, no doubt. Refreshment from the land symbolizes spiritual renewal. Hospitality from the shepherd's knowledge, experience, watchful, sincere, shows God's guidance through mature believers. Reassurance about the path, physical rest.
Yeah.
It's all divine aid.
But right alongside that, you get these stark illustrations of danger.
Yes. The wonders are powerful warnings. Hill error, doctrinal error leads to spiritual shipwreck, being dashed to pieces, a warning against false teaching and maybe pride.
And mountain caution. Leaving the hard path for ease leads to doubt, despair, spiritual blindness, and a kind of living death.
And these points aren't just abstract allegory. They speak directly to the challenges any believer might face. You need that knowledge to discern truth, experience to navigate trials, watchfulness against temptation, sincerity in your faith. The shepherds embody what's needed to avoid the fate seen from the hilltops.
So the Delectable Mountains aren't just a nice rest stop. They're a crucial place for gaining perspective, getting strengthened, but also being shown the hard realities, both the blessings and the perils of the walk.
Yeah, a place of solace and serious instruction, equipping them before they move on.
It makes you think about those men. The ones dashed on hill error, the ones blind among the tombs. They were pilgrims once, on the same path.
Started out just like Christian and hopeful.
So what does their fate, especially linked to that saying about wandering from understanding and ending up with the dead, what does that make you consider about perseverance, about the absolute need to stick to the path, God's way, even maybe especially when it feels rough and difficult?
That's a searching question, something well worth reflecting on.